Yeah, they think we're going to the Bernabaeu to play football. It ain't gonna be no football match, bro. Our box finna look like an elevator for 90 minutes straight, bro. I apologize in advance to everyone who plans on tuning in. Nah, but seriously though, yesterday might have been the best day of my life. I literally ran outside barefoot after Rice's second free kick. He literally fed me for at least a decade, because the way we were whooping their ass, there's no way we should have went to Spain without scoring. Miles Lewis Skelly, by the way, he needs to be examined. He's too thick to be an 18-year-old. Pause. I know that sounds crazy, but it's literally the best way of putting it. That little nigga strong as shit. His mama must have put fucking protein powder or some in his baby formula. Manhandling Madrid at 18 is crazy. I had to shout him out real quick. Overall, it was a dream game for Arsenal and one of the best upsets I've ever watched, but there was a bit of discourse on whether it should even really be considered an upset, because let's be honest, Madrid have been pretty ass for almost the whole year so far. By their standards, this is their worst season since 2018. They're losing games and dropping points left and right, already got pounded by Barcelona twice, they're conceding goals at an insane rate, especially outside the league. Arsenal's been beat up by injuries all season, but even with that being considered, this isn't really anywhere near as lopsided of a matchup as it would have been, say, like 10 years ago. Yet it absolutely still is a massive upset, and the reaction of the football world says everything. Some upsets aren't really upsets because one team is obviously so much better than the other. Sometimes they're upsets because of other context. Yes, Madrid has been buns, but it's still Madrid. 15-time UCL champions, defending UCL champions, loaded with shiny superstars against Arsenal, who've never won the Champions League, just got back to the competition for the first time in like 7 years last season, don't have a striker, and just lost the heart of their defense for the rest of the season last week. It's absolutely an insane upset regardless of Madrid's form, no matter how you look at it. I don't know. It's the same way I consider Barca's 4-1 against Bayern earlier this season an upset, even though Barca was in insane form at the time and it was at home. The outside context creates the narrative, and upsets are all about narrative. Before that game, Barca had lost to Bayern 6 straight times, and 8 out of the last 9 times, including the infamous 8-2. 4 of those 8 losses were at home, and they'd failed to score in the last 4 matches. Then they came out and absolutely macked them. That was for sure still an upset in my book, just because of their history. I think the argument is really only happening because some people see the word upset and only think of one kind, the classic not so great team against powerhouse story. To be fair, those have been some of the greatest upsets ever. The first one that comes to mind is, of course, Liverpool versus AC Milan in 2005, the most iconic UCL final ever. It's probably more recognized for the comeback, but it's also equally important to mention that Liverpool had absolutely no business in that final whatsoever, and they definitely had no business actually beating that Milan team. I swear, Milan probably thought they would sleepwalk their way to that title, and for good reason. They strolled in there with Kaká, Shevchenko, Seedorf, Pirlo, Gattuso, Maldini, Nesta, Cafu. I mean, damn. Then Liverpool deadass responded with this bullshit. Barros as striker. The season after this, he got shipped off to Aston Villa, and a few years later, he was in Turkey. John Arne Reese. I don't even know if I said that right. Harry Kewell, Steve Finnan. Don't piss me off, bro. And it's not like these were horrible players or anything, but compared to that Milan team, this is a joke. Ancelotti probably looked at the team sheet and laughed his ass off. This same Liverpool team finished 5th in the league and didn't even hit 60 points. They should have gave them buckets, bro. I don't know why it isn't brought up more when people talk about Ancelotti. This shit is embarrassing. What other huge upsets are there? Saudi Arabia over Argentina to open the World Cup in 2022 was huge. Probably the funniest one considering how the rest of the tournament turned out. Looking back, it's easy to laugh at it, but in that moment, it was insane. Coming into the tournament, they hadn't lost in 36 games, which was one off Italy's record. They were generally healthy, and they were the favorite to win the tournament, just to immediately lose to a team that was barely inside FIFA's top 50. If you weren't online that day, you missed an all-timer, bro. Messi was getting absolutely grilled. Who knows how different his international legacy would have looked if he didn't pull out that beauty against Mexico, bruh. Speaking of World Cup openers, I wasn't alive for this, but I wish I was, just to experience the reaction from fans. Senegal beating defending champions France to open the 2002 World Cup. Their entire group stage that tournament could be viewed as an upset, to be honest. It will never make sense to me how a team with prime Henry, prime Vieira, Desailly, and Thuram not only didn't win a single group stage game, but also didn't score a single time in the group stages. Zidane was hurt and only played one game where he very obviously wasn't ready to return yet and looked like shit. But even taking him out, this is still a loaded team. They had just won 3 major tournaments back to back to back. The last World Cup, the last Euros, and the last Confederations Cup. Not scoring at all in the group stage and getting sent packing is nasty work. Somebody must have put laxatives in their Gatorade or something, bro. They was all playing like they had explosive diarrhea. I don't know. That whole World Cup was shady as shit. I would not put it past them. You know what else was a really bad one? England, Iceland 2016. I know people from the UK that still can't eat when they think about it. Korea versus Germany in 2018 is another more recent, unforgettable one. I feel like that was really the wake-up call for Germany that told them, yeah, we're not those guys anymore. Anyways, we all love a good upset, but those classic small or struggling team beats powerhouse team that's on a roll isn't the strict guideline for what an upset is. Or maybe I'm just a little loose with the way I use the word. I don't know. I don't see why we have to be tight-fisted about the definition. I consider the 7-1 somewhat of an upset, even though Germany was favored anyway due to Brazil not having Neymar or Thiago Silva. It was the added context of the game taking place in Brazil and then how badly they got skunked that makes it an upset for me. Anything that was wildly unexpected counts in my book. If you feel like the definition should be more strict or contained to the pre-game favorite to win the game lost, then whatever. You technically be right, so I'm not going to argue. I really don't care that much. I feel like the term upset can be used a lot more broadly, though. That's just the way I use it. There's also certain teams that get to a level where every single loss is an upset. Any Barcelona loss during the Pep era is an upset to me, to be honest, because that was the greatest team of all time. They really had no business losing to anybody ever. That Inter loss in 2010 just came down to pure tactical brilliance from Merino and the absolutely evil football Inter played in the second leg. Arteta, take notes. I need you on that same bullshit next week. Chelsea in 2012 was a pretty surprising loss too, especially because once again, the other team got a red early at the Camp Nou, and once again, Barca couldn't capitalize. The rest of Messi's career is also packed with upsets that he was on the very wrong end of, many of which involved blowing leads and many of which weren't really his fault if we're being fair, even though a few of them were. I'm not pointing fingers, but if I had to pick any Barca player to throw in jail for life, it would probably be Ter Stegen. Well, unless Alves is around. Anyways, what's your guys' favorite upset in football history or your favorite upset that you watched live? Let me know in the comments. Y'all already know I'm going with yesterday versus Madrid, bro. Call it recency bias if you want. I don't give a damn. Thanks for watching. Catch y'all later.